Hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you never walk alone. You never walk alone.
All right, good evening, world. Welcome to the show. Alexis Ondaatje on vocals.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you never walk alone. You never walk Walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk. You'll never walk. You'll never
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I certainly need a drink, after that. What a start. Alexis Ondaatje doing the team song of Liverpool. Great song, Alexis. Got two lovely ladies standing by tonight. It's a big day. I got to make a call. I know there's lots of cricket happening out there. Legends playing in India and the national team playing in West Indies. But all those people who have logged in, thank you very much, being a part of the show. I got these two lovely ladies standing by. So it was Alexis Ondaatje's rendition of, You Never Walk Alone. Such a talented, lovely girl. Let me see her pretty face, and we get, Alexis online, and her sister is on standby as well. Yeah, Alexis, good evening. How are you doing?
Hi. Good morning
Good
for
to-
me. How are you? I'm good.
Yeah, it's morning for you, and it's late in the evening, in Sri Lanka. I hope your sister is on standby as well. Anna Maria, she's the star of the show. Let's get Anna too. Yeah, there she is. Anna, good to have you on the show. Nice to see
Hi,
this.
thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, darlings. It's my pleasure to have you two girls on the show. And big thank you to everybody. Chandani, no worries. Might say, it's no worries saying charity. It's lots of people. The spell check always get my name wrong. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
Rajiv. Good to have you on the show. Alexis, what a
Hi.
great start.
Thank you.
Before we go any further, I have seen that you do you have done certain covers. When this song came out, I don't think you were even born. Now, what
No, I
made
wasn't.
no, you haven't. So, what made you to think of this song?
My dad actually showed me this song. He showed me Barbara Streisand's rendition, and he used to play it for us when we were younger, but it was sort of like in the back of my head. But when he played it, I really liked the song and the meaning, and for the times that with everything happening now, I thought it was a really good message to put out. And I thought the song was amazing. I mean, as you can hear, it's like I thought it would suit my voice. My dad also thought the same thing. So yeah, it was kind of the perfect song, especially for now.
Great choice. I know that people, that people who know Alistair, there are lots of mates who call me today that who have been to hotel school with your dad. Some of the mates, want to say a big hi to. Just girls, what's it like, having your dad as, your old man as your manager must be hard. The guy has very high expectations of you two girls.
Yeah, no, for sure. He has definitely very high expectations, but I feel like sometimes that's good. It pushes you to do things you're not always comfortable with doing and stepping outside of your comfort zone. So, yeah, and having somebody who's a good support, especially knowing who's supporting you is like your family member, somebody who loves you, is always the best. So. Yeah.
Well said, Alexis. If I tell you a little about this song, I think if I may recall, I think it was done by Gary and the Pacemakers. I think it was called the original. Did I get that right? Gary and the Pacemakers.
Yeah, Gary and the Pacemakers.
And the Gary is from Liverpool. Every time the side Liverpool, the soccer team, there's a beautiful story behind it. When the team is lagging behind against the opposition, the crowd starts singing, you never walk alone, and get everybody behind Liverpool. And then it was, I think, another version of it came, during one of the ferry disasters. So it was used a couple of times. Very appropriate song, as you rightly said. This time of the year, what's going on, girls? Very quickly, just tell us, is there still a partial lockdown on in Canada? Or what's happening?
So right now we just left immediate 3-week lockdown. We had a very harsh lockdown, only going out for essentials. Right now we're in a zone where I think right now we can do 50% capacity in stores and restaurants, which is good. But they're suspecting that we have to go back to lockdown.
Oh, that's sad news. You have been in lockdown forever. I mean, I have spoken to a few people. I think Dashi, she's also from your area. She appeared on my show a couple of weeks back, and she was in lockdown, struggling to do her training. How are you managing, Anna, with all these restrictions going around?
Yeah, it's really difficult to find a place. For about 4 months, or even more, probably 5, I was training at home. So literally in our living room. And rhythmic gymnastics requires a high ceiling to throw the apparatus and quite a lot of room. The carpet's very big. And so training in my living room for 5 months was a little bit difficult. But as the lockdown lifted here and there, we were able to get an exception to train in a smaller gym.
Wow, I can imagine. It's not like that. We also back in Sri Lanka. We went through a similar scenario, and before the season started, for the younger blokes, we did some online fitness sessions, but it's never the same. Unlike you getting outdoor and training and just doing indoor training, your intensity is different, and at competition level, I know it's challenging. It's really challenging. But how do you even for you to train indoors, is your trainer allowed to come and train with you, or how does it go?
Yeah, she's allowed to come. We have a limit, so a capacity limit of 5 gymnasts and 1 coach.
Right.
And our coach has to be masked, and so do we at times, depending on what activity we're doing.
Right.
And yeah, that's how we're trying to keep safe and get through this as fast as possible.
Yeah. Sense. And Alexis, what about you? That you could. I mean, I guess you can do your training at home, but
Oh, yeah.
are you restricted as well?
In the beginning, studios were closed, like recording studios, but they ended up opening up, so it wasn't too bad. But
Right.
training and stuff, I used to go for once a week with my vocal coach, but yeah, that sort of slowed down because I'm still able to do it at home. So yeah, the restrictions weren't too bad on my end, but there's still things like just in the music industry in general, where like live shows weren't able to be held, and different things like that where it was restricted. But for me, it wasn't. I didn't really get affected in my music sort of world. So yeah, I was fine training at home and stuff like that.
Great stuff. But I guess it affected your plans for the future, that you had big plans and putting out your own material, own record, perhaps. I guess all that affected due to COVID.
Yeah, I was while COVID, like in the beginning at least, I was working on one of my songs in the studio. And so that was sort of put at a halt when the lockdown happened in the beginning, because nobody really knew what was going to happen. And, releases sort of were pushed back because we didn't know, with the time, like you don't know what to put out at that sort of time. So it's like it was sort of in limbo. But now things are definitely starting to pick up. So.
Good news. Anna, coming back to you, Anna, just rhythmic gymnastics. It's a new sport, and I did a bit of. Even I wasn't. I'm okay. I have to think. I'm no stranger to sports. I grew up with sports, and I did sports from a very young age, just like you guys. What made you do this rhythmic gymnastics? That's. It's a very interesting story. If you can tell the viewers out there what made you, and what got you going to do this.
Yeah, so rhythmic gymnastics is, I guess you could say, fairly new. It's not as popular as, if you might know, artistic gymnastics.
Yep.
They're both Olympic sports, actually. So you can catch them both at the Olympics.
Yep.
But when I was younger, I always liked to dance. I was pretty active, and I wanted to try gymnastics. So we did a little research on artistic gymnastics, but then my father found rhythmic gymnastics, and I did some ballet, and there was a mom there, and she suggested to us rhythmic gymnastics as well. So that made us like very curious, what is this rhythmic gymnastics? Because at that time, we also didn't know what rhythmic gymnastics was. And so we found a couple clubs in Toronto, and I went, tried out a few of them, and I immediately fell in love with rhythmic gymnastics.
Right.
I loved it since the first day I tried it. And I'm really grateful my father took the chance and put me in rhythmic gymnastics.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you basically you didn't know what it was, and that then you did some research and you thought, okay, that's the way to go. And is it very different to this orthodox normal gymnastics, or because I know it's got a lot of rhythm involved? How is it different to the gymnastics? People know about it. It's quite popular in Sri Lanka as well, but not rhythmic gymnastics. How is it? What's the difference between the two?
So they still follow along the lines of acrobatics, but I'd say artistic gymnastics has more agility, more, this is with like the beam, bar, and rhythmic gymnastics is an all-girls sport at the moment. And
really?
It's with
okay, I didn't know that. All right, that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, many are shocked to hear that, but right now it's all women's sport. And it's with the ribbon, ball, hoop, rope, clubs like batons.
Right.
And it's done to music. It can be done in group or individual. And
Yeah.
you have a routine. And in this routine, you have a bunch of difficulties, certain elements like turns, jumps, balances, throw, and you have to catch in a very interesting and extraordinary way. And it's also very graceful, elegant, and comes from a background of ballet. So yeah, that's
Wow, it's interesting. I understand that you need certain apparatus to that accessories and stuff like that for you to that. Is it a must? That you have to have some apparatus, or whether can you do it without it, or is it it's part of the gear?
actually, yeah, rhythmic gymnastics is done with apparatus always.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what's your choice? What do you use?
Well, currently for seniors, we have ball, hoop, clubs, and ribbon.
Right.
My favorite, I really depends on the routine,
Okay.
actually. So for my hoop routine, we're working on my routine music is We Are the World by
Right.
Michael Jackson. And I really love that song. And I love the routine. And I just connect with the song a lot. So I feel like the routine is going to turn out really solid. And I just enjoy performing it, practicing it. And I actually can't wait to perform it more, like once everything's lifted and competitions
All
are
right.
rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I mean, one day you should get your little sister, to to write a song, to
Yeah.
suit that'll be two sisters combination. Your sister's song playing in the background, and for which you will be performing. That'll be great to watch. I'm sure that that will also will have an effect on the judges. Just to have a great team working together. Your dad as the manager and your sis singing in the background, and just your dad. You're doing your gymnastics. To that'd be great one day. Just to have something like that. So if I may ask you. Lots of other sports, at professional level. Are you a professional, or are you still, you're an amateur?
No, I'm at international level, professional. Yeah.
Yeah, athlete. Yeah. So my next question is going to be: are you getting paid for doing this? Or how do you manage? That I know it's a costly affair. People don't realize how expensive it is to be a professional athlete of some sort. And whether it's gymnastics or the cricket, rugby, or any other sport, it costs a lot of money for these young players to keep their upkeep, training, their supplements, their food, all that that's cost money. So how do you manage? Are you getting? Do you have any certain sponsorships, or so how does it work?
Yeah, so for any sport and professional athlete, it does cost a lot of money. Traveling, competitions, coaching, any equipment that you need, any recovery you
Absolutely.
need.
Yeah.
It's very expensive for any sport. I happen to see the rhythmic gymnastics side of it, and it's also quite pricey.
Right.
Currently, I'm self-funded, so that's how everything's going right now. But yeah.
You're self-funded, and I'm sure your costumes too cost hell of a lot of money. That's like I can see a lot of effort going into that. So that's sustainability in the future. Now that you have made the big call that you're going to compete for Sri Lanka. So does that mean that you will not be able to compete for Canada in the future, or how does it work?
So I was previously on the Canadian national team in 2016, and actually then I withdrew from the Canadian national team to compete for my mother country, Sri Lanka.
Right.
And Sri Lanka never had rhythmic gymnastics before.
Yep.
So, as you know, it's quite a not so popular or common sport, but I think it has a lot of potential to grow. And especially in Sri Lanka, when my dad told me that they don't have rhythmic gymnastics there. I was so excited to be able to bring my parents and together, like bring rhythmic gymnastics to Sri Lanka. And so I'm really proud to be able to represent Sri Lanka. And yeah, so now since 2017, I've been representing Sri Lanka in World Championships, Asian Championships, Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, and multiple international competitions.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed it. Yeah, that's what, so that's going to, so are you getting any assistance? But my question is, will you be able to represent Canada in the future by deciding to represent Sri Lanka?
I haven't even looked into that because I really am solely focusing on only representing Sri Lanka till the end of my career. Absolutely. So I never plan to switch, I guess, and I will always represent Sri Lanka till the end of my career.
No, it's important that you have your focus, where you want to be and what you want to do, and that's easier to set your goals up without having too many things complicating your career. It's a way to go. But how does it work? So you do your training back in Canada and you come over to wherever the competitions are held for participation, or okay, the question is, in Sri Lanka, do we have any facilities or do we have any trainers who know about the sport?
Currently, no, since they never had rhythmic gymnastics. We don't have a facility for rhythmic gymnastics yet, but in the future, that's the plan, definitely, to develop rhythmic gymnastics furthermore there. So as far as training and competing, I currently train in Toronto, Canada, as that's where my coach resides. And then I travel from Canada to wherever the international competition may be. And I'll generally stop over at Sri Lanka. And yeah, that's how training works.
You still have your family? You guys family left over here? Any cousins? Any close family members?
Yeah, I have my uncles there. I have a lot of aunts there. Yeah, a lot of my grandpa's sisters, great aunts. They're all still there.
Great stuff. Now since like Alexis, I'll get back to you shortly. And I know that you're getting a little bored. It's just the stealing the limelight over here, taking a lot of time. But I have a lot to ask. Thank you. And tell us how different your training to a normal training to an athlete. Do you have to do your cardio? Do you do your weights? And is it any different to any other sport? How do you bend and do your twirls, and how do you become so flexible? Because I'm useless when it comes to stretching. I really struggle. My whole body stiff. When I see you doing all those routines, I say, wow.
Yeah, me too sometimes.
How does it work? Did you? And I believe you didn't start. I was told that in the good old Eastern Bloc, that the athlete starts when they are very young, so that their bodies become very supple, and so that it's easier to bend. So, but you did not do that, did you? You started the sport when you were like only a few years ago.
Yeah, I started when I was 9, which is fairly late.
Yeah.
A lot of girls are already starting. I mean, even 3, you wouldn't believe it, that they're already stretching. Your ligaments are very soft. It's very easy to maneuver and make sure that you end up very flexible.
Yeah.
But starting out at 9, it was difficult. I wasn't most naturally flexible. Yeah. I mean, certain things came easy. Many things were very hard for me. But the most of all, I loved it. So it was really easy to see past all that stuff. But yeah, stretching, very difficult, especially now. I feel like a little bit older already, just because the lifespan for a gymnast isn't as long as many other sports. But stretching is incorporated every day. It's really important to be flexible and make sure your muscles are warmed up properly.
Yeah.
You mentioned about weights. Weights we don't touch too much. Because
Okay.
rhythmic gymnastics, we incorporated a lot of different type of strengthening exercises. It's more
Use
body
your
weight.
body weight. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Body weight. And actually, I think some people underestimate the power of body weight exercises and also how important they are. I think that a lot of it is with body weight. We do warm up with apparatus. We do a lot of cardio and endurance exercises, a lot of ballet. And most of all, it's important to be very strong in flexible positions. For example, if I was to pick up a weight and do a lunge, I'll be very strong in the lunge position. But I need to be flexible and strong when my leg's almost going to hit my head.
Exactly.
So we need to work on strengthening in that position. So that's where the warm up and conditioning becomes a little bit different, because you need to be strong in a slightly different way.
So what kind of, there's, like, I mean, when you talk of stretching, in no other sport that you go to the extremes that, you guys go to, as you rightly said, your knee literally touching your forehead and, there's, crazy bending styles,
It's
unless
crazy.
that you ask some, crazy yoga master to do, stuff you guys do, that's, what kind of, I'm very, very curious to know, how do you attain that kind of flexibility, as an athlete? Or is it like, how often do you train?
So I train 6 days a week, 4 to 6 hours per day. And if
Wow.
I'm training internationally, it can go up to 8 hours per day. So we'll do 4 hours and lunch, break, nap, and another 4 hours. Yeah, so trainings are very long, very technical as well. Flexibility takes time, and flexibility is mainly gained through consistency, right? So that's why we have to train every day, because even one day can limit your flexibility and keep you stiff the next day.
Yeah.
So it's really important to stretch every day, and yeah, especially when you're younger, it's even more important to stretch. And then, of course, when you're older, to strengthen, to maintain, and keep your body healthy, even through those extraordinary flexibility moves.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it got to be very, the stretching must be a very important part of the whole the program that you do, and it must be very intense kind of stretching. And how long do you stretch for? I guess those are extended sessions, unlike in a very short, quick session. Like you must be stretching every part of every limb of your body.
Yeah, everything cracks, everything stretches. Like the places you never thought you could stretch, you're stretching. Like it's
Like what? What are the places you're talking about? I'm really curious.
just your hip, back, neck, wrist, elbows, knees. Like it's very important to have like stretched out knees, just because the sport requires it for execution and artistry and the beauty of it. Your toes, something that's really
You
important
gotta
to
stretch your
stretch.
toes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Can
we
you
stretch our
can you
toes.
stretch your forehead with your toes? Is that possible for you to lift your leg up? The other way around.
Yeah.
You can.
Yes.
Oh, you're a freak,
Yeah.
girl.
Right.
Wow, it's amazing. Someday you got to. I'm very, very, love to know that you could probably, I'll write to you, and would love to see the training schedule and the techniques that you use in order to become so flexible. Because you see that the biggest thing why I'm asking you, that the amount of injuries that that I'm involved in cricket at the moment, the number
Yeah.
of injuries that the players sustain during the season, the players breaking down. I think the biggest problem that we have sometimes, just before a game, that the guys are not, especially at domestic level, of course, at international level, that we have a very strict schedule that, we take time, international teams, to do a proper warm-up session. even with that, the players are still breaking down. Just that's I always thought that I should speak to a professional gymnast to see what they do. That's a kind of, in order to gain that kind of flexibility. Do you sustain a lot of injuries in your sport?
Yes, I personally, I do. And I think it just comes from the extraordinary movements that the sport requires. And I've had a lot of back injuries, hip stress fractures in my back, partially dislocated shoulder, a lot of problems with my feet. But this is like the life of sport, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be able to overcome that. And I think overcoming anything physical, like any physical pain, is like the biggest and hardest thing to do, right? So yeah, I think rhythmic
So
gymnastics
you're
comes
a,
with
you're
a
a
lot of
firm
injuries.
so you're a firm
But
believer there is no gain without pain. There's no pain,
yeah,
no gain.
absolutely.
Yeah. By the way, that's, a big hi to everybody who's watching. I can see
Yeah.
people from USA, Sri Lanka, mostly people from overseas, as I said, lots of people watching cricket. And there's a guy who appeared on my show. He's a young cricketer. Of course, he's sidelined with an injury. And he said, ha, 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 injured player right here. I think the guy got a bad groin strain whilst playing, and I hope he'll get fit soon. And I wish
Yeah.
him well, Geshan. So I believe, Geshan, if you want any, I'm sure that, Anna can help you out. You could, ask any questions, what you want, what kind of stretching you need to do to get yourself going. I think Geshan's problem is, it's a thing that every athlete sometimes that goes through uh, before you are actually healed properly, that your keenness to get back into competition, which is deadly. That's why you need good physios to guide you, your rehabilitation process. And if it goes wrong, because the second time around the injury, if recurs, that it's going to get longer for it to heal. The healing process got to be right. So it's a very sensitive, delicate balance of the healing and getting actually match fit, in your case, in a competition fit. Tell us about your diet, Anna. Do you follow a strict diet as well, I guess?
Yeah, diet is very important, especially, well, not diet, but I think being aware of your food for rhythmic gymnasts is important, just because it's quite an aesthetic sport, right? But we also need to maintain a lot of strength. And it's very important that you keep at a healthy weight just to prevent any injuries, of course. Jumps can be a little bit more dangerous if you have excess weight. Flexibility can become more difficult. So diet-wise, I don't go on any diets, like, I don't know, juice cleanse or that sort of thing,
Right.
just because I always need to maintain muscle. So I'm not trying to lose a significant amount with losing my strength as well. So I always just make sure to eat to fuel my trainings. And it becomes easier for me because I'm always training. So I just make sure that I'm always feeding myself foods that are going to fuel my training and then recover my body after, so that I can continue my training the next day. Because you feel it right away, right? When you go to the gym, you know that it's because either you didn't eat well the night before or
Sure.
before training. And obviously that erases all your work in the gym. And I think, like, over the years, I've become more educated with food and nutrition. So that's helped me out a lot. And you don't realize how much of a big portion that is to everything you do, and especially for an athlete. So yeah, food
So
is
what
very important.
I believe that you eat a balanced diet, but less carbs, more protein. How does it go?
Pretty much everything in moderation. I'll try to avoid too much carbs after the training. Try to incorporate more before the training so I have more energy, and then stock up on a lot of proteins, fish, meats, eggs, any yogurts, that sort of thing.
Great stuff. You on any supplements that you take that pre-warm ups and stuff like that? Do you take those any protein shakes and stuff like that?
I used to take some protein shakes. I tried out a few of them, but honestly, I feel like the best fuel for me is always whole foods. So I like to get as much protein as I can from any meats, dairies, eggs, that sort of thing. And I feel like my body digests it better, and it just works better for me. But I know that proteins and whey proteins and things like that do help a lot of people. Supplements wise, I just make sure that I'm not low on anything like iron. I take vitamin D, sun, pretty basic things, just to make sure my body is functioning properly. Yeah.
Great stuff. So just to ask you, that you have I'm sure that you have a dedicated trainer. That little I have seen that there's a lady who travels with you and who's with you all the time. And is she a full-time trainer that she's totally dedicated to you? How does it work? Is she your personal trainer?
She's my head coach.
Right.
I'm part of she has also other gymnasts under her, so I train with her and other gymnasts as well.
Right. That's a full-time job. How does she get?
Yeah.
Do you pay her, or is she getting paid by the government, or how does it work?
So she's also my coach as well as other gymnasts, so she'll get funded from other gymnasts as well as me. Yeah.
So she's just basically a personal trainer for you. She's a full-time coach.
Yeah, for me and for some youngsters and other gymnasts as well. Yeah.
All right, great stuff. I'll come back to you. We'll talk about your other activities. Apart from your gymnastics and your future plans, etc., etc. Getting back to Alexis. Alexis, probably Michael Jackson. Everyone relates to Michael Jackson, and everybody knows. But he's actually, Michael. We grew up with Michael, from his, Jackson 5 Days to 70s, 80s. You are not even born, and you are doing all these covers that came in the 70s, 80s. Is that your father's influence, or how do you relate to the old music? I can understand that Anna saying that she likes Michael. Everybody loves Michael. But how do you relate to 80s music?
Music is for all ages. I don't really think it even has an age. No matter if it's music from way before you were born or, from my parents, listening to music that I listened to.
Right.
There's really no age limit. So, I obviously didn't just pick up Michael Jackson. I heard it from my parents. I heard it from, different sources. But music doesn't really have an age. And so I sort of fell in love with, old music, 80s music, and then early 2000s music, because I was born in 2004. So even though I was in that sort of time range, I wasn't a teenager in the 2000s. So going back to that stuff and listening to different influences from back in the day. And you can also see it coming into music today, where influences from the past are coming, and you can hear the sounds, the different techniques and stuff in today's music. So there's a lot of transparency in music, and you can see it affecting all different generations.
Right. So I believe, the little I have seen, I've not seen a whole lot of you. But you more you like the old classical kind of music, that you do the ballads, or you do other genres as well?
Ballads, pop. I'm mainly focusing on pop, soul, R&B also. That's sort of where my music is headed right now. So all different genres I listen to. I wouldn't even be able to tell you my favorite one. I pretty much love all of them.
You're flexible. You don't have personal preference in one genre. Just you flexible. Yeah. Just to remind, your style just reminds me. Probably your dad will know. She's of Sri Lankan descent. The singer called Beverly Craven, and I think she's Sri Lankan born, perhaps based in UK. She had a couple of classic hits way back in the 70s, 80s. I think "Promise Me" was one of the tracks, and if I may remember. No, your style of singing reminds me a lot of Beverly Craven. Check it out. Once the show
Yeah,
is
sure.
over, who Beverly Craven is. That's fantastic, and it probably give you an idea how to go about. So apart from your singing, do you play any other instruments as well?
Yeah, I play the piano. I used to take lessons when I was younger, but that I sort of stopped taking lessons, but I kept on going, just personally by myself. I'm not the most amazing at it, but I know my way around chords and keys, and I can make my own chord progressions and write my own songs to it. I taught myself the guitar because wrong way. My dad has also bought us so many guitars when we were younger, but I never really got into it. But just recently, especially over quarantine, I learned acoustic guitar. So yeah, I know my way around that one too. So I'm pretty proud of myself for learning that one by myself.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
I guess it makes a huge difference, when you
yeah.
know how to play an instrument, especially when it comes to songwriting. You can always
for sure.
either you can start strumming your guitar and hit few couple of keys and feel your way around and see how it goes. You should buy or invest yourself in a synthesizer as well and get a synthesizer with keyboards. And
yeah,
go ahead.
I just recently got one, so I'm working my way around learning how to do all that stuff and trying to learn how to go about producing my own stuff maybe in the future. So yeah, instruments are a huge part in songwriting. I wouldn't really know what to do. I wouldn't know where to start if I didn't know an instrument in songwriting. Of course, you can songwrite however you please and however works for you, but I definitely always use an instrument when I'm writing my own songs because it really
Great
helps.
stuff. Excellent. So do you also train on a daily basis, less like your sister, or how does it? You take it easy, or how that you I guess you're a full-time musician, aren't you?
Yeah, music it's an everyday thing for me. I do it every day, whether it's writing a song. I might not be like belting out a ballad every day, but I'm definitely doing some sort of music, whether it's listening to music, because that's a big thing. You have to listen to music to be able to make music, to get inspiration from there, looking at different artists, writing music, working on an instrument, working on your voice, practicing that. There's so many different things. It's not always, practicing the performance or practicing a certain anything. It's just music is so versatile. You can practice so many things. It's different every day, really.
Got it. There are two questions coming up for the two girls. One's from Geshan. Any special food habits you need to follow in order to recover fast from a groin strain? I think that's why. Any kind of food that do you have to eat to get over an injury? Proteins, I guess. Anyway, what are your thoughts, Ana?
Hey, Gashan. So for food for recovering from a groin strain, I actually had a lot of hip strains as well in the past, and I wasn't able to do a lot, like even walking for long periods of time was not recommended by my doctor. But I think that with any injury and from a strain, it's really important. Food becomes even more important. So you really want to look into getting foods that are going to help recover your muscles. And it becomes even more important because you're not moving as much with a groin strain. So you want to make sure that you're feeding it the right muscles for recovery. There's a lot of good nuts and seeds. I know fish is very good. All the oils and omega-3s are really good for healing. Just making sure that you're eating very vitamin-rich foods.
Well said, girl. And Alexis, this question for you. Winston, must tell you guys, it's a sweet story about Winston. Winston has his own show. Have you guys seen Winston's show?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
It's called My Home Video Live. Winston, he performs every night. I think, he did it.
Oh, I know.
He's like during the height of the lockdown, I believe Winston kept the whole world rocking. Just amazing. Every day, day in and out. And the beauty of it is Winston is he's not a drinker. He doesn't. He probably he'll have an occasional one drink. But the guy is hyper, mate. Anyone he sees, you think, hey, this guy is on, some kind of, probably he's on, he's on steroids. He looks like a, monkey, loaded with steroids. I mean, monkey in a loving way. It's nothing, nothing against Winston. It's with loving words. When I first saw Winston, I like, what the hell this guy is doing? He's jumping around all over the place. He's taking people's requests. He's singing. He's playing. He's playing his drums. Whatever. He's playing his maracas, tamarins, and all sorts of things. The guy is, and he keeps it. He still has his show. I have an idea, Alexis. I'll speak to Winston and see whether we could get this thing done. You could come live on his show and do a spot. That you could sing. You can do it. Over the internet. Either you could perform. You can play a backing track and you could perform, and Winston can put you on the live feed, or that he can connect you. I'll tell Winston how to go about. The Winston question to you. No, she's not going to do that. No, mate. Whether you could sing any singular songs, Alexis, I guess you can. I think your dad told me you can.
Me and my sister actually did a cover of Hela Jessica. So that was my first time actually singing a Sinhalese song, and it was very not easy because I do not speak the language. But
Right.
so yeah, we had to learn it, practiced it every day. And she's not a singer, so I was pretty proud of her.
Is it on YouTube? Is it
Yeah,
on
it's on
YouTube,
YouTube.
Alexis?
Yeah.
Hela Jatika Abhimana, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'll see whether I can look up, so I can play it for the people to see that, you and Ana both sang. Is that right?
Yeah, we did.
Great. Let me see whether I can. Alexis, Hela Jatika, does it go like that or any other name?
I should go like
it should go
that.
by that, yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can find the song, so that we can keep Alexis Ondaatje and Ana Alexis Hela Jatika Abhimana. That's one.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, great stuff. Let me see whether we can play that, to everybody watching, just so they'll be happy. Let's try it out. Modern technology. Thank God for that. Let's see whether you can get it first. Winston, hold on, mate. Let's see whether we can play this song for you. Yep, it's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up. Can you guys hear that? Yeah.
Hela Jessica Abhimana, when you vill anse porane, binu mau bima sao sirien sarasau, pipideu seraseu. Hela Jessica Abhimana, when you vill anse porane.
You can act that good.
Binu mau bima sao sirien sarasau, pipideu seraseu.
I was the lower tone.
What do you call it? What tenor is that? I don't know. Alex probably will tell you.
Like
There's a next. There's a next phrase.
She's like the
yeah.
bass of the
Yeah, she's the bass. Yeah. So how did you do it? You wrote the words in English. I believe that you wrote it in English and then you sang it the way it sounded.
Yeah. We had help from a local coach who speaks English, so he helped us out a lot. My dad helped us out. Yeah, we probably not have been able to.
Well done, girls. Excellent. Very well done. That's brilliant. Do you know who sang this in original?
The name's slipping from me. I can't remember.
Yep.
actually.
It's late Mr. C.D. Fernando. He's a great songwriter. I don't think he wrote songs. He was a great singer, and he was my old man's favorite singer. And still, back in the day, that my father, that whenever he used to go out for parties, he used to take his guitar. He used to play the Hawaiian guitar. You know what a Hawaiian guitar is? That's that the guitar. It's used another term for that. It's actually that you use a steel and a pick. That you see that guitar being used. When you if you listen to country music, they still play that guitar. And my old man used to play it, and he used to sing this Kanala Jatika Abhimani all the time. I love the track. It's still it's an evergreen song. It's a classic and still played over and over in Sri Lanka. And well, great choice. Great background, by the way. It's very influential. A lot of influential people. I saw while the video is on. Well, I'm not a politician, so I don't want to go in there. So I'll leave it at that. I'm here to appreciate your talents. That's I will only look at it. It's good to have Ruini. I think Ruini, do you guys know Auntie Ruini? Auntie Ruini is from Canada. I think we go back a long way. There are lots of people who are watching. Actually, they are all from USA and Canada, and good to have all of them. Great stuff. So okay, it's a deal then. So we'll work on that. One of these days that probably Alexis will come on Winston's show and light him up. And I think Winston has a show coming. Winston, if you're still online, I can't see whether you are still there. Just tell us that that you are going to have a Apple Green reunion. I think what's their band is called in USA, Dynasty. Yeah, I think if I may recall that it's Dynasty. And I think Winston is going to do a guest spot with these guys. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's coming up one of these days. Winston, if you can tell us when is that show, so I can give you a heads up. Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
Winston is still
Winston's
around. When is your show, mate? And if you can hear us, just put a note here so we can all give some support. And if you can tell us, what you're going to sing, so we are all looking forward to it. And great stuff. Reading, Turkey. Yeah, told you, lots of people they're all from Canada. That's your fan club. My fan club has gone to sleep. I think they will all join. They will all join after the match. Yeah, Winston. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they were known as Apple Green. But I don't think they have only the two brothers, the Mendes brothers. The rest of the guys are, I think, from different bands. So probably that's the reason why they decided to go with a different name. Yeah, we know them from Apple Green. Anyways, good luck to you with the show. Coming back to Alexis, have you ever visited Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I have 2 or 3 times, I believe. I visited my first time when I was a year old, so I don't remember that time.
Okay.
But
No.
yeah, so I visited a couple times before, and I love it there. It's so beautiful, and I really want to go back. I was supposed to go back last year, but then COVID happened. So yeah, hopefully when everything lifts, we can go back and yeah.
Yep. Give us a heads up, if you're planning to anyway. I'm sure that that your dad will keep me informed that if you guys are planning to visit Sri Lanka in the future. If people are, if you people, well, all those people who are watching from overseas, I think maybe you are not aware that the last 2 days the travel restrictions, the new set of what do you call COVID. What's the word term that you use, the precautions, the precautionary rules that are in place, they were all revised, so it's very flexible at the moment. And if I'm not mistaken, if you take both vaccinations 1 and 2 prior to your travel, and you spend 14 days after the second injection, and you take a PCR, please, people who are listening out there, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that you are excluded from quarantine in Sri Lanka. You go home straight. So you got it 2 injections, 14 days from the second date of injection, that and a PCR you are negative. There's no quarantine, so you go home. You're clear. I think that's a great move. And so people don't have to check into hotels, and that all the difficulties that people have to undergo, that's not there. So you can spend your time wherever you are, take your vaccinations, come over here. Sri Lanka is open. Just the good news about it is that I haven't gone out for a couple of weeks. Otherwise, practically on Friday nights, I like to go and visit few nightclubs that are happening. Not because that I'm a real party animal, but I like the lots of guys who perform in groups, that just to go and help them, give them a helping hand, especially these tough times. The musicians went through a lot of hard times during COVID. The guys were shut down. It's the same all over the world. So they're just getting back. Just having a few gigs here and there. Still, it's very tough for them, and it's not an easy task. And so my point is, if you come to Sri Lanka ever, so tell us in advance. We probably will fix you a couple of gigs that you can perform with some of these local bands, and some of these there are a few excellent bands out there. Recently, I saw a band called Magic Box. I think a group of youngsters. They play all 80s. Amazing. That's it's mind-boggling how they do it, but they don't do as like original covers. They do it in your own style. That's fantastic. You love it, and Sri Lanka is picking up if everything goes well. So there are lots for you to do. So whilst your sister trains with the gymnast, that you can keep yourself occupied, singing and doing. And we got excellent recording facilities as well. There are very, very, very talented, lots of talented musicians out there, and I wish them and I wish you nothing but the very best. Turkey. How many cousins you have? All the Ondaatjes, are they in Sri Lanka or what? In Canada, there I can see lots of Ondaatjes wishing you guys well. There must be your aunts and uncles, I believe. Okay, now coming back to you. You very proudly mentioned one thing. You said this is a sport done exclusively by women, and I can see that you an activist that over women's rights.
I definitely, yes, I believe I'm an activist for human rights. Right now, rhythmic gymnastics is all women's sport, but I know that they're looking into incorporating a male portion to it. So of course, male to compete separately in rhythmic gymnastics, and then women to compete separately. That's probably going to come into the future, and I'm not opposed to it at all. I feel like rhythmic gymnastics still has a lot of potential to grow, and I think incorporating males will also help to further develop the sport, make it more common and popular, and just grow its potential of rhythmic gymnastics, because we're kind of cutting off a lot of the audience, keeping it only women, right? As much as I love the atmosphere of rhythmic gymnastics, I think that incorporating males would be a good move for rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah, I think it's in like all sports that at the moment, the women are playing cricket, they are playing rugby, they are playing football. And if you take one gender out of the sport, I think that you're pretty restrictive, and
Yes.
your audience becomes smaller and smaller, and it's better to have a wider
Absolutely.
audience. And the sport grows. The more people you have, I think it's a good thing to have males. But do you guys have a foundation, right? That Ondaatje Foundation. By the way, Michael, there's somebody else asked that question from me the other day. You are related to Michael, aren't you?
Yes.
Michael is
he's
your uncle.
Yeah, our great uncle.
Is your great uncle, yes.
Yeah.
And so, is he a part of this Ondaatje Foundation? And what?
No. Right now it's between my father and I. We started the AQO Foundation to focus on basic needs, and we hope to get that kickstarted and running in the future.
Yeah, it is. What do you expect to do with your foundation? It's like a charity organization, basically. What do you guys intend doing with that?
Yeah, it's a charity organization, and I hope to open I'm currently a Goodwill ambassador for this foundation, and we've done quite a few charities, sports at schools, and a lot of donations so far for COVID. And I also hope to open my own branding. We also started AQO Sports and Entertainment, which is a sporting platform and entertainment platform. And I hope to open my own brands, and through this, kickstart the foundation and give back. Most important.
Brilliant. I wish you guys nothing but the very best in your whatever work that you intend to do, philanthropy work, in the future, and the way to go. And I heard that you have other plans for the future. It's just not gymnastics and your social segment, the work that you do. Someone told me that you have other plans. Apart from your gymnastics, what else do you want to do?
There's so many things I want to do, try. There's so many things to do. After I'm done my rhythmic gymnastics career, I hope to run for Miss World, Miss Sri Lanka, then Miss World, Miss Universe. My great aunt Maureen Hanger was former Miss Universe.
Oh yes, yeah, back in the
Yes.
50s. Yes. She's perhaps she's the first beauty queen that brought glory to the country. I never knew that. She's related to you. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, I really want to follow in her footsteps, and in knowing that she did it, it gives me hope for me in a way, and drives that purpose of becoming Miss Universe. And after that, I really want to open a school of rhythmic gymnastics in Sri Lanka and grow the potential of the sport there. And then, of course, I want to get into a lot of charity work and uplift our foundation to give back, and as well as open my own branding and just many things that hopefully.
Well, people, watch this spot. Perhaps we are looking at a future, Miss World, from Sri Lanka, and I don't think we have ever produced even few. We had a couple of Mrs. Sri Lanka, but not Miss. I don't think any of our girls have. I'm sorry, you got my ignorance. Probably I don't know that they have not got very fine in beauty contests. As little I know. hopefully that the things will turn, that we have enough talent in this country that we could showcase. And so you can carry the flag, and that's people around the world that take a look at, wow, that's the place to visit next time. They've got pretty ladies out there. It's yeah, true. It's a good thing to do. We are only known for a couple of things. Just to Sri Lanka. The people knew us. Wherever you traveled. That thanks to my sports and my work, I have traveled extensively around the world, and people always ask you, Ceylon tea. You come from where tea comes from. You go to Middle East, say chai. Yes, Ceylon chai. That's what what we are known for. And then since we won the Cricket World Cup back in '96, and so everybody started to hey, Jai Surya's country. Jai Surya comes from Sri Lanka. It's so that's all we were known for. I can't think of anything else that other than the negative publicity that we were known for, which we don't want to talk about. Hopefully we don't go through. Luckily you girls were small and you didn't realize what the country went through, but so all that is past. So hopefully in the future, so we got rhythmic gymnastics, we got a Miss Universe, we got a potentially chart topper. Hopefully that you hit the USA charts. Did you see this new girl, that the Rodrigo girl? I think what's the track?
Yeah, she's amazing. Driver's license. Yeah, I love her.
Driver's license. Yeah,
So popular.
Exactly. Let's see that. The sky is the limit. Where the hell did she come from? You see?
Yeah.
If you put your mind and head into it, I'm sure you can do it. There's no. That's when you listen to that song, it sounds pretty simple. Then it's kind of starts growing in you, and then you see the depth in that song. What an amazing effort! That's it's beautiful, amazing, and that's there you go. That's you see, I'm keeping in touch with what is going on in the world. What's number one in USA? What's happening in UK? Just other side of the ocean. What's happening? That's hang on. Okay, now Winston is back. Wow, wish her all the best, Miss Sri Lanka. Yep. And
Thank you.
Auntie Dashi is finally she finished her training. Do you know Dashi, by the way?
No, I've yet to talk to her.
You know her. Amazing.
No.
Okay.
I haven't.
That's another brilliant story. And I featured Dashi a few weeks back on my show. Dashi is another athlete that she competes at the highest level in Canada. She decided to become a fitness model, at the age of 40, and the transformation she went. And if you look at her and her training, she trains just the way you do. That's she also had her limitations because of the lockdown. Then she started building her own gym from scratch. Started picking up weights and that online classes, and it's very tough, but remarkable lady, just like all what she does. So you should have a chat with Dashi. She's a fully qualified personal trainer, and very exciting young lady to talk to. And good to have Dashi on the show as well. Yep, and future Miss World too. And yeah, Winston and future Miss USA #1, hopefully 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, and with another title, and it's great stuff. Okay, Anna, before we wind up, we'll be talking to you 1 hour, 10 minutes, I don't want to keep you two girls too long. Your future plans, what's coming up? What are you training for?
Currently, we're training for Olympic Games qualification. So it's still the date for this is unknown. We're waiting for the Asian Gymnastics Union to send us out a date and place, actually. But yeah, we're shooting for qualifying for the Olympics, and that's what we're training for at the moment.
Which Olympics is this?
Well, formerly 2020 and now 2021 Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan.
Tokyo, Japan. But you mean to say that the athletes haven't still done their qualifications for 2021?
Yeah, there's still, especially for gymnastics,
right.
We're a little late on the qualification process. There are some gymnasts who were able to qualify from World Championships in 2019, but there are
Yeah.
still many gymnasts that require a next competition to qualify. So a lot of continents, like all the continents, are waiting on that.
Right. Just sorry again, my ignorance. This due to this COVID, have they lowered the standards required for qualification, or have they given any concessions, or standards are the same?
No, you still have to put in the same effort. Unfortunately, due to the conditions, the standards and requirements have stayed the same.
Nothing has changed. So it's I believe it kind of it becomes even harder because you still don't have the full potential to go out there and train, but the standard sets are the bar remains the same. So it's become even more difficult. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
it becomes a little bit more different. I mean, there are harder things in life, thankfully, but this is tricky. No one expected that this would be the way that Olympics would turn out. But everyone's in the same position, so we have to just make the best of what we can.
True. And I was going to ask this question. Thank you, Durkee, for bringing this up. I was going to ask this at some point. I asked you earlier whether you have any sponsorships going for you, but you said you are self-funded, and it's tough at times, which I understand very well. $1 million question: what kind of backing is Ana getting from Sri Lanka? Do you get any support at all from home?
Currently, it's fully self-funded from my parents, so not at the moment. No.
There you go, Durkee. I mean, I didn't want to put Ana in a spot, raising bringing that question up. I knew what the answer is going to be because right now in this country, I'm not surprised that there's hardly any support coming from here, which well, I don't foresee that it will happen in the future either. Unfortunately, that good luck to you. But if you get some kind of assistance, you're lucky. But how do you manage? Like now when you say you're representing Sri Lanka, do you have anyone coming over, like a manager, someone from Sri Lanka, when you go for the competition? How does it work?
No, generally I just go with my coach, and we go together. And
So who pays for your coach?
Also my parents.
Wow.
But it
I'm
just
glad.
comes with,
I'm so glad you're not my daughter because I can't afford you. Simply, I would have told you, forget gymnastics. You stay at home. You pursue your beauty or whatever. Like Alexis, go behind, sit in front of the piano, and go play it. I simply can't afford it. No chance. That to pay for all your training and pay for your coach. No way. People, that's the ground reality, isn't it?
It comes with bringing the new sport to rhythmic gymnastics to Sri Lanka, and it's always been my father's dream to bring rhythmic gymnastics in Sri Lanka and to give back to my mother country, Sri Lanka. So it becomes easy, and the goal becomes very attainable and easy to see when you have a lot of passion for it. Everything becomes easy with passion.
Do you have anybody following you? Anyone who has started the sport in Sri Lanka? Anyone at least even given a try?
For rhythmic gymnastics, no. They
Nobody?
only have art. No, not right now. Not ever in the past. Just artistic gymnastics, I believe they have for sure. Rhythmic gymnastics, no, not yet.
I saw you being felicitated by Museus, that in Sri Lanka after you won that competition in Zurich, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was amazing experience, and I was so happy and glad to have the opportunity to share some of my experience and knowledge with all the young girls and give them some motivation and create a positive impact. And I had a lot of young girls who had a lot of questions, and I was really glad to be able to answer them, and it was very personable, and it was great. I was really glad to be able to share some experience.
Brilliant. How did Museus, I mean, I think it's a great gesture, what Museus did. Why Museus? Do you have any connection to them, or how did it happen?
The school, it actually invited me. So they set up a whole presentation in the auditorium, and I did a little performance, like a demonstration of rhythmic gymnastics, so they can get a little bit of a insight of what rhythmic gymnastics is.
Right.
And it being an all-girls school, I think that it was able to reach a lot of young girls, and I think a lot of them really enjoyed watching it. And I think that we created a really positive environment there, and it was great.
Brilliant stuff. Has anyone even contacted you to get to know the sport, and has anyone made inquiries, or not, just to any interest at all from this part of the world?
For rhythmic gymnastics, no, not as yet. Like, as the first Sri Lankan rhythmic gymnast, I believe it's my duty to kickstart this.
All right, Alexis, have you ever tried gymnastics?
Yeah, I have. I did it when I was, oh my God, I can't remember how young I was, but I did do it. I was put into it. It was not good for me because I'm not flexible at all. I don't understand how she does it, but I was put into it when I was younger by my dad. He was like, oh, if she's going, you can go too and try it out. And I was like, oh, sure. And so then I went, but I did not like it. It was not for me.
Yeah. But no, I totally understand. Sometimes, what is good for the goose, not necessarily good for the gander, they say. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So you can be sisters, but you can be very contrasting interests that you guys can have. And you got more siblings in your family. You have an elder sister and a younger brother, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, what are they doing?
My elder sister, just doing. She used to play the piano. We all played the piano. Even Anna Marie played the piano. So we're sort of all musically inclined. We all listen to music. My brother also just currently doing school and focusing on that. So, yeah.
So you guys, schools are open, or you guys study online? How does it work?
For me, well, schools are open, but I chose to do online just for extra safety precautions, really. But I don't mind it. I kind of like being independent and doing it on my own and working more on my own time. So yeah,
Right.
I do it every weekday online, and we have Zoom classes and stuff like that.
What about you, Anna? Has your education, has it been affected due to your sporting activities, or how does it work for you?
I did online school. Actually, my entire high school was done online. So actually, COVID didn't have, fortunately, too much of effect on my schooling, just because I was always used to doing it online. But I know that university for me next year will be running online probably. So it shouldn't be too different for me. I probably wouldn't feel too many of the effects on school, more as with training.
Right. Due to your sporting activities through one of the universities,
Sorry?
is it possible for you to obtain a scholarship through your gymnastics?
No, for rhythmic gymnastics and the universities that I'm going for, no. So yeah, for that, no scholarships.
Right. All right, Gus. I think it's really great talking to you. And as lots of people listen to the show, and they have wished you nothing but the very best. And so Hashini, she's also from USA. You go, girls. The sky is the limit. True. And
Thank
she's
you,
a
thank
musician.
you.
She's a musician as well, and she's in USA somewhere. And Lalit, he's a former Army general, and who's always follower of my show, and wishing you guys. He normally doesn't wish too many people, so he's I'm surprised to see that he's wishing you guys all
Thank you
nothing
so
but the very
much.
best. You ladies should get the word out more so you can gain some financial support from fellow Lankans overseas or in SL. If you're representing SL, then it's only fair that you gain Lankan support. Why not start a fund Girls, you want to, or you want me to answer that, or you want to answer it?
You can answer.
Yeah. So actually, I think the how can I say, they are managed. They okay. Okay. She's in Toronto as well. Sorry, my apologies. And I don't think that's the idea. I think their father is quite. I believe he's making a lot of sacrifices, and he's supporting the girls at the moment in their endeavors. But well, any support that comes along, that I shouldn't be saying no. And if anybody wants to, I think it's something that you should perhaps pursue, girls. That you can have a fun, that the people overseas can actually really fund you. But then again, as she had said, that then if you're representing Sri Lanka, that the support should come from here, it's not going to happen. That we all know that our athletes go through a lot at the moment. They got they operate on wafer thin budgets, and the ground reality is, Suhashini, that apart from cricket, again, apart from few players who are contracted with Sri Lanka cricket who are full-time professionals, everybody else, the guys who play at domestic level, it's a massive sacrifice. Okay, yes, they get paid, but what they get paid is insufficient for them to survive. So being a sportsman in Sri Lanka, it's not easy. So if for Anna to even think of getting any support, I'll be very surprised if you get any support from Sri Lanka other than criticism, which you will get it free of FOC. I told you, I warned you before the show that what is likely to happen, that which people are very good at jumping into conclusions, but that's part of growing up. You will always see, because it's a public show, that the most of the comments will come after the show, because I'm not going to take it off the internet, that it's going to be there forever. And whoever watched all the, and it's almost 10 o'clock in the night in Sri Lanka, so the people who have a few will start commenting, so all that will come once we say goodbye. And that's part of, I think, you being that you girls are going to have a lot more exposure in the future. So it's going to be like part and parcel of the whole thing, that the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's something we need to we learn to live with. As Shazad, Shazad.
Yeah.
Yes.
My auntie Shazad.
Okay, as she said, criticism is part of progress. You become stronger.
Of course.
I mean, I'm my worst critic anyway, so
Okay, all right. Your dad says, would love to listen to a song from Alexis. Alexis, okay. Pick your song. Michael Jackson?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Which one did you sing? Heal the World, was it?
Yeah, Heal the World.
Okay, let me see whether I can. Alexis, where are you, Alexis? Heal the World, it's whether I can find the link. Yeah. Copy, okay. So we should be on. That how hard it is to sing Michael Jackson. Not many people. That's.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you? Yeah, tell me.
Sorry, I was gonna say, even though there aren't many high notes, people don't expect that song to be hard, but that was probably one of the hardest ones that I had to sing, and I really wasn't expecting that one in the studio. I had to go back and forth. And Dad was like, get the timing right. And I was like, I didn't even realize the timing, and especially in Michael Jackson songs, are so complex, because the way he sings it is so original. It's so difficult. There was not even at any point of trying to make it sound like his, because it's just, you can't. So yeah, that was probably one of the most difficult ones to get, somewhat like his. Yeah. I
can imagine. The little I know of, I'm not a musician, but I love my music. I think I got a good set of ears that I can see talent sometimes, and I can hear talent. But the little I have noticed, even the guys who I've watched in the past a lot of what's a famous show? America Got Talent and all that, the lot of singing competitions. 99% of people who are trying to sing Michael Jackson, or who was, even or Freddie Mercury or whoever, just been an absolute disaster, because those guys are unique. And there's not going to be another Michael Jackson. I don't think even his own brothers can sing. Jermaine would never try to sing like Michael, and unless Janet decides to sing like him or someone. The boys can't. It's unique. But you did it. Let's see how you sound. As your father requested. Let's listen to Alexis. People, before we wind up, let's take a listen to "Heal the World," covered by none other than Alexis Ondaatje.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place could be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. Fear or dread, we stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always love's enough for us growing to make a better world, make a better world. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. And the dream we were conceived in will reveal a joyful face. And the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. Then won't do we keep strengthening life from this earth, crucify its soul. Oh, it's plain to see this world is heavenly. Be God's one. We could fly so high, let our spirits never die. In my heart, I feel you are all my brothers. Create a world with no fear. Together we'll cry happy tears. Leave the nations turn their swords into plowshares. We could really get there if you cared enough for the living. Make a little space to make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place make a better place, make a better place, make a better place.
Alright, it's 3 past 10 o'clock in Mother Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen,
For our children,
Alexis Ondaatje covering Michael Jackson's great track in the world.
save it for our
Well done, girl.
children. Heal the
Wow,
world we
wow, wow.
live in. Save it for our children. Heal
Yeah. Let me read out in a couple of messages for you. Definitely need to get your music out there, Alexis. MJ would be so pleased. Moved me to tears. You really did justice to the song. Best wishes, girl. Yeah, well done. Charith, please share the link. Yeah, Sush, YouTube. Very simple. Yeah, I can do that. I probably can share the link over here. It's not a problem. I will do that. I shall do it. Thank you, Charith. And you have been an amazing human being to bring these 2 young ladies light up their career for a great future. And I wish them all the best. Thank you, Winston. I wish you nothing but the very best. Before we wind up, that I would like to just play one clip of Ana's, that if I can find that, let's see. Ana's, I think, that was, let's see whether I can get that just so people can, Sri Lanka Sweetheart, I think it said, if I can find that. Yeah, got that one. Manix, thanks, being part of the show, mate. Always that you're a great supporter.
Hi, I'm Ondaatje, rhythmic gymnast from Sri Lanka, and this is my story. Well, I first, when I was 9 years old, my father put me in ballet. And I participated in some just like ballet performances for fun for probably a couple of months. And then a fellow like rhythmic gymnastics parent actually introduced to my father rhythmic gymnastics. And when we just searched it on YouTube and we were like surprised such like a graceful sport existed, and it had a combination of ballet and it was an all-girl sport. So I guess he thought like, why not just, let's put her for her first lesson. So we found a club in Toronto, Canada. I went for my first class, and as soon as I went for that first training, I fell in love with rhythmic gymnastics. As my first training lesson, I was a little bit nervous because I was quite shy as a kid. But I think like as I started to get in the rhythm and play with the apparatus and everything, it started to become fun for me, and it was freeing for me. Like it was an after-school activity which I enjoyed to come to because I felt like I could be myself. And I really enjoyed the fact that I was improving every day, and I just immediately felt like rhythmic gymnastics, it's my passion. I remember being really nervous. My first tournament would probably have been when I was 10 or 11 years old in Canada. I was really nervous. I wasn't that naturally physically capable as a child, so I definitely felt like I was delayed in like my progression in the sport, but nonetheless I think I worked hard and was able to improve. I think my biggest achievement was participating and coming into the finals at Commonwealth Games in 2018. Since I started the sport, it's always been my father's dream for me to give back to my mother country, Sri Lanka. And so he felt through me we could do so. And since I started at 9, he always thought this would be a great opportunity for Sri Lanka. And I'm really proud to represent Sri Lanka now at world stage.
There you go, girl. Now we're all proud of you. And basically, in a few words, everything that we discussed, that you put it in a nutshell and you said it, what all we discussed. Girls, thanks a million for agreeing to come on my show. It's such a great pleasure, and it's my privilege. Someday I hope you girls, that you deserve everything in this world.
It's our pleasure. And thank you for everyone who's listening. Thank you.
Yeah, absolute pleasure having you girls. And Sush, I have put the link. Alexis, you can, people who are listening out there, they both have their own YouTube channels. Please go subscribe, support, like, and do whatever you have to do, show your love, support to the girls. And a big thank you to Dilanta Eliatambi for your initial introduction. If he's listening, Dilanta, thank you very much. That's his idea that, who wrote to me sometime back and who put me in touch with your father. Then we discussed, and then I had my commitments, and I couldn't host you girls earlier than this, which I'm sorry, that unfortunately I decided to have the day both our national teams are, the present and the past teams are playing, but that shouldn't be a problem. Big thanks to your dad. He's been great. That you don't know what a father goes through. Perhaps he knew who I was. I think I can understand his reluctance to expose you girls online, the unknown man from Sri Lanka trying to talk to you, without knowing what the intentions are. But once he realized that you girls are safe in my hands and that I will take great care of you, we allowed you to come on the show, which I'm totally grateful. Alistair, thanks a lot, mate. And I wish you all the very best in your endeavors. I'm sure the girls will not let you down, and you are in safe hands. And on that note, I wish everyone take this opportunity. Thank you, people.
Thank you.
And it's a brand new week coming up, and hope everyone stay safe and do your thing, and have a great week, and see you soon. The drink with Charith. I forgot to have a drink today, but which I will now after this show. I had my Red Bull, but I had one of these, but I did not drink. Since Ana said she's not into supplements, I thought no, just leave it. Don't worry, girl. Papa boy will be a millionaire soon. Yeah, I hope Winston. I hope Alistair will pay me a huge commission for showcasing the girls. Then I'll be a happy man one day. All the best, girls. Thanks, guys, everyone.
Thank
It
you.
was great talking to you.
Ayubowan.
Yep. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.